Hey, welcome back, traders. Welcome back, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope you've been doing amazing, and I really hope your week has been quite eventful, especially the month. Hope the month of February so far has been quite interesting to you. And I apologize for not dropping any video last week. I've been quite busy with our new Discord community. Okay, it is big, it is better than before, and we have quite a lot of people in the community already. So if you want to be part of the community, I share everything there. Okay, the trade we have running right now, we have like four trades. We are currently in a four trade now, four positions, and three of them are doing very well, minus the dollar pair that we are holding. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about that, especially DXY. But what we're not going to do is talk about the trade we currently have right now. Okay. I'm going to leave that to just the people in the community. Now, it is free. Okay. For now, it's just for everybody. It has always been free. All right. So if you want to be part of it, just go to the description below. Is the only link there right now. Click on the link and join the community. Or if you want to take a look at the at my bio, okay, the link is also there. So those are the latest information aside what we're going to talk about in the market today. So back to the market, we're going to talk a little bit about everything like as usual. And also another thing that's very important and very interesting about this community is the fact that we share fundamental updates. Okay, everything you see right here, you get it at as they ought. Let me put it that way. Okay, you get it out in the community. Okay, I'm talking about the Edge founder. I mean the Edge Finder. Okay, the Edge Finder top setup. Okay, we talk about that. So another thing that is very important and very new that I bring to the community is the fundamental outlook. We have a session where we discuss the top setup. We have a session for economics of price middle, as you can see there. We have a session for the asset scored, okay, where you can actually see the breakdown of all the fundamental outlooks, okay, all the fundamental indicators. You can see how they're all broken down. I mean, this is the free version for anybody that cannot afford the full version of Edge Finder. Okay, you cannot afford this from Nick and his team, Edge Finder. I break it down a little, just a little snapshot for you, so you can have a look at it. All right. So you will see the breakdown of all these fundamental indicators, and you can make do with it whatever you like. You get what I'm saying? So it is cool, it is nice, and so far so good for now. It is pretty free. So take advantage of it before maybe I'll start charging in the future. You never can tell. All right, but for now, just take a look at it, enjoy it. So things will be coming up in the future, but right now we're still sticking with price action and fundamentals, and we're focusing on swing trading. At the same time, there's going to be signals every now and then for day traders. So this is the best time for you to be part of the community. Okay. So without further ado, guys, let's jump straight into the technical part of today's session. Yeah, let's take a look at it because first off, we don't really have any much data coming this week. Okay, we don't really have so much data like that. We have the CPI, we have the Australian CPI, literally, I mean, it's more like that. And then we have the president's speech on Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday are pretty flat. And then on Thursday, we have the unemployment claim, the weekly unemployment claim, as usual. And on Friday, we have the card GDP, we have the core PPI, excuse me, we have the PPI data in the United States coming on Friday. So that's more like everything we have coming next week. I don't really see anything super serious. However, I don't have any trade on Aussie, so I'm not super interested in focusing on it. Okay, but I will read through it. I will understand what the detail is, but I don't think I'm gonna be taking any action whatsoever based on that data. However, President Trump's speech, I am going to be on. I'm going to be listening to it. I'm going to be digesting it so I can make better decision in the coming days, right? Especially when anything that pertains to the dollar, especially anything that pertains to the geopolitics, Trump, Iran, China, I think Greenland is now out of picture, so good for them. However, I think Iran is now the hot take, so we have to look into that because I have a lot I have a trade on WTI, I have a trade on Brent, talking about crude oil, and I'm also very interested in gold and silver. So that's also another way to kind of like watch out and pay close attention to what the fundamental is saying and what Donald Trump actually have to say. Okay, very, very important. Right. And then Canada, I have a trade on card. All right. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I have a trade on card. So card GDP will be very interesting to watch. Although it's expected to actually go increase by 0.1%. That's what the forecast entails. But we're gonna have to wait and see how these all play out, right? We're gonna wait to see how it play out. However, when it comes to the dollar, whether you trade the dollar pairs or you don't trade the dollar pairs, unless you're not trading anything, even if you're trading stock market, if you're trading cryptocurrency, you're trading the minor pairs, dollar is still very important. Okay, is the global currency, so to speak, as it stands now. So you want to pay close attention to that. So we're going to be looking into that as well. Or you should watch out for that. But as it stands now, the US economic heat map still lingers, all right, still lingers around 61.54%. Okay, it is not the richest, it is not the biggest, it is not the strongest, especially technically, it is not the strongest. However, it is decent. Okay, fundamentally, the dollar is decent, but the consumer confidence is out. Japan and China, I mean, the countries that are holding the largest debt in the United States are not very confident. When we're even talking about the treasury, when we're talking about the yields, they're not very confident holding it. However, fundamentally, when we look at the economic size itself, based on the hard data that we have right now, it still looks very decent, right? To get involved in, to move closer to. But when you take a look at the chart, when you take a look at the sentiment that surrounds the dollar, that surrounds what the US government is doing everywhere in the world right now, you want to be skeptical, right? You want to be cautious on how you approach it because whatever they do, one way or the other, is going to affect the dollar, right? Whatever they do in Greenland, whatever they do in Iran, in the Middle East, with Europe, right, even in Africa, one way or the other, it sends the signals to the market and market reacts to it because people in Africa trade the market, people in Asia trade the market, people in Europe trade the market. So whatever the United States do or the United States itself, what they represent or the person that represents them, which is Donald Trump right now, it affects the effect cut across the market. So that's what breeds the sentiment. That's what breeds how people perceive the United States as a country, as a nation. So all this thing is also factored into the market, right? Because there's investors everywhere. I'm very sure I've broken it down to the best of my ability. So that is why we have to pay close attention to that. But based on our data, GDP is not looking good, right? It came down very crazy from 4.4%, which was previous, and this is what was even forecasted 2.8%. And what we got to one was 1.4%. That means the growth is not as decent as it used to be. And also, we just got the data yesterday that the Supreme Court of the United States, COTUS, right? They signed off on Trump refunding uh, tariffs to all the countries and the companies, and they just like we are cutting it off, no more tariffs, right? Although there's still a little ways that Donald Trump has found a way to kind of like bypass the whole thing by sanctioning the whole world, right? The global market by sanctioning every country by 10% tariff. I think you can do that, but I think it still needs the Congress to sign off on this. But as it stands now, every country in the world now has 10% tariff from what they used to. I mean, Japan was 15%. We have Chile, or is it Peru or Chile, at 20%, India at 18%, UK at 10%, some European country at 12, 15%. So some of them are getting a little bit of this percentage taken out of what they usually were sanctioned or what they actually negotiated for with Trump during the G7 meeting, during the one in Davos. So everything seems to be working very well for now. But as it stands now, the current tariff is 10%. All right. So that's where we are right now. And this happened on Friday. Doesn't fully be factored into the market yet. This is the kind of data that don't really get priced in immediately. The market just have to like once it hits the market have to recuperate and react to it, right? And that's why on Friday we saw gold drop to like 5,000 from 5,000 from 50 it dropped to 5,000. Then by the close of market yesterday, gold was sitting around 5,100 plus. That is the effect of this particular tariff. People are now like, okay, what's going on? What do we have to do? What is the plan? What is the next step? Okay, all these things are very important, and they are the things that you need to pay close attention to. It's not just about the data that you can see listed in the economic calendar. It is actually about the data that you have to just catch up on X. You have to read about them on the media. But I think X is the best place to actually look for data right now. And I do share some of my snippets, some of my screenshots in the Discord community. So if you want to be part of it, please join and enjoy yourself. So that's all I have for you on the technical front. On the fundamental front, all the screenshot of this of the top setup I always shared in the group. So, but in the community, but as it stands now, we have gold, we have USOL, both bullish. We have Aussie Yen bullish. We have AUD NZD also pretty bullish, and then we have pound dollar bearish. Yeah, I think we have pound dollar bearish right here. We have Dow bearish. All right, that's actually very weird. Okay, considering what the Attorney General in the United States said, Dow is at the all-time high, right? But anyway, that doesn't matter. Pound Aussie bearish, pound CAD bearish, S&P 500 bearish, pound Swiss bearish, euro dollar bearish. Right, that is quite important to note. Okay, that's quite important to note. However, we still have a lot to go around. Euro Swiss bearish, Euro Aussie bearish. Right. So technically, all euro, anything pair against Aussie, CAD, and Swiss are bearish. Right. And the dollar also. So that's very important. So let's pay close attention to what I have to share with you on the technical perspective. All right. I'm very sure you cannot wait for the technical. So let's jump straight into it. So we're going to be kicking off with the dollar as usual. And if you take a look at the dollar right now, right, dollar is at a very, very interesting level, right? It has retested this particular support, right, that was previously used as resistance here. And now it is currently using it as resistance again. Now, this is it's more like a 8 hours to 12 hours. I'm not sure it's pound to daily. Let's go to the daily time frame. I think on the daily, it also kind of give a very decent structure in a way, right? It gives a very decent structure, I must say. But yeah, so to speak, it's a key zone. Okay, I'm gonna call it a key zone to be honest, because we have support, we have resistance, and we have resistance, right? Key zone. However, we have higher high, higher low, higher high. We are getting a little bit of a mixed structure right here. Why? Because when you take this to the 4 hour time frame, you can see the trajectory changing gradually. All right. A move to the upside, a pullback, and the market fly back to the upside. Now we have what we can call ABC. Excuse me for that. We have what we call ABC, right? Could this be the corrective wave of all the move that we've seen in the last couple of weeks? And the market is going to continue to fall to the downside. Or, peradventure, this is just the beginning of a motive wave that would span all the way higher. Because when you look at the fundamentals, don't forget we talked about the sentiment is not supporting the dollar like that, right? However, economically, based on our data, dollar is still pretty strong. Okay, so it's a slippery slope. All right. However, I am not comfortably strong or bullish on the dollar yet. Okay. What I'm looking for in the next couple of days, it's gonna look like this. Quite simple. Okay. I'll be looking for a break to the downside like this, a pullback. Okay, maybe even make a nice zigzag pattern to the upside like that, and then drop to the downside. This is what I'll be looking forward to in the next coming days, right? In the next couple of days. However, the alternate side of this, when it comes to the dollar, is we could as well even get a break to this, a break of this particular daily trend line that came all the way from last year, all right? A break above it, a pullback, and then we get the market rallying to the upside from there. Okay, now don't forget where I used to tell you that I draw the line somewhere, I have my line drawn somewhere. The moment the market breaks somewhere, I'm getting out, right? That particular place is still at that 99.50 region, okay, at this particular high. This is the most significant high in 2026 so far, right? This is the 2026 high on DXY. The moment we see the market break above it, I guess I'm done, right? I am officially done selling the dollar. Then we can now start looking and start counting for what? A 5 wave motive, all right? Maybe something like this in the next couple of days. Don't forget again, fundamentally, the dollar is not bearish, all right? This is it right here. The dollar is not bearish. Okay, it's quite strong at 61.54% right there. It is not what? It is not bearish. So when you have stuff like this, and you can better prepare yourself for what to come. Okay, you can better prepare yourself for what to come. So these are I'm seated, I'm positioned on the dollar, and this is another reason why on major pairs I am kind of like recusing myself when there is inconsistency and a little bit of instability in the in DXY, I tend to just recuse myself. When we had something like this, okay, on the dollar index, I was busy buying pound dollar, euro dollar, Kiwi dollar, right? And I make a ton of it in January. Okay, then when we got something like this, I was shorting pound dollar. I mean, euro, I was buying pound dollar, right? When we got this corrective wave back to this place on DXY and the market started dropping, I was buying pound dollar, buying euro dollar. At the same time, I was shorting. No, I was buying dollar yen as well, right? But right now that the market is now, it has now made a double top right here, okay, at this particular key zone region, right? That region right there. So what comes out of it is not decent enough because on a normal day, what I was expecting is further to the downside. I want to see further drop in the price of the dollar. But the moment it came to this region and started going back up, that changes everything for me. Okay, it just broke this particular 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is more like a triple or complex corrective wave to the upside, okay, which is very decent. And it followed through with a very decent drop. However, the decent drop ended here, which is not good. Okay, so that created a chaos in the market for me, and that is why I'm recusing myself. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain right here. All right, so that is all I'm gonna say on dollar index. Okay, I told you we have some open position. They are still running very well. We see how it goes in the next couple of days. However, I have some pending orders as well, especially on Ethereum. Okay, I want to short Ethereum. However, it is not looking the best right now, and I am very close to changing my mind on Ethereum. Okay, I'm very close to changing my mind. As a matter of fact, on all the crypto assets, in my personal opinion, I'm very close to changing my opinion. Although we've seen a nice and decent, I think a wedge pattern right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we've seen like a wedge pattern right there on Ethereum. So potentially, I mean, let me even draw it out for you so it can make more sense. Okay, let's change this to white so you can see it very clearly. Let me make this a bit bigger as well. Yeah, we have this wedge pattern here on Ethereum. Doesn't look bad in a way. Okay, as you can see, the market is called as currently, or let's say is currently, because the market is still running right now, even though it's the weekend, right? Market is currently running and is just broke above the upper band of this what upper band of this particular wedge pattern, the resistance trend line. Okay, the trend line that is acting as resistance has been broken to the upside. So potentially we could see the market approaching 2,300. All right. Although I won't call it the bull run yet, I won't call it that the market is ready to rally yet. I will still be patient. I will still watch out. Right. However, we also have a little bit of a resistance here. Okay. We have a resistance right above there that could also pose as a challenge for this further buy to the upside, right? It could pose as a challenge for Ethereum. So that could actually lead to a further drop in the price of Ethereum if we are focusing on price action. Okay, so again, a little bit of higgy haga everywhere. Like it is not super clean, and I don't like unclean stuff, right? So I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna watch out for these. And when the time is right, believe you me, we're gonna get into it. But patience is very important, especially as a swing trader. So let's just pay close attention to it. Now, if because by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I might not be able to release any video, or maybe the video I'll be recording will be for the people in the Discord community. It's gonna be everybody, anyways. But I might not be able to talk about Ethereum with you right here on YouTube. So what you might want to do is wait for a break above there, pull back, and you can look for buy opportunity right there. Because the moment we get this eye broken, the next eye we have is right here, and I don't think they have anything to do with the price. Okay, moving higher, they're gonna get violated. They're gonna get brutally out. So potentially, we can see the retest of this particular zone right here, okay, before the market now fall further to the downside. So watch out for that. You can take a quick short buy right at the bottom there if you're interested. But if you're not interested, you can just look for a swing short at the top here. All right. So that is another take on Ethereum. Solana, I have the same thing on Solana. As you can see, Solana is already rallying to the upside anyways. So that is quite more aggressive than gold. I mean, than I would say than Ethereum in a way. Okay, it's quite aggressive. It's and also very precise. Okay, you can see almost the same structure on Ethereum, on all the crypto assets, anyways. Okay, almost the same structure, I must say. So we're seeing something like a this is not the this is more like a channel, a very channel in a way, but also like a it's also like a yeah, an ending diagonal. It looks like a wedge pattern. it's very weird, right? Looks like a flag pattern. It's in a channel, and it also kind of like want to have a kind of attribute. I want to share an attribute to an ending diagonal or something like that. It's pretty crazy right there. I don't want to read so much meaning to that. But anyways, if you're interested in in Solana, I'm still like right here on Solana, right? I still want to short it as well. The same thing I want to do to Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's what I want to do to Solana also. So, but then we also have this particular resistance here that could pose as a challenge again. That particular resistance right at the top there. So, if the market break above it, pull back, you can look for what? A short buy targeting 96 to 100 region at the top here. Okay, 96, 99, 100. Okay, if you're interested in that. Before we now look for the extreme short opportunity that we are planning to take, either from 106 or 106 adjacent. Okay, that region right there, that will be where I'll be looking to short Solana. So pay close attention to that. Solana looks very decent, in my opinion, and I will not mind. This is what it takes to. What is going on? Oh, okay. All right. So I didn't adjust it, I guess. So anyway, that's how I'm well positioned on Solana at the moment. So watch out for that very closely. Okay, watch out for that very, very closely. Looks good. All right. BTC again. I took a buy on BTC though. I told you about that short buy I was talking about earlier. Yeah, I took that one on Bitcoin. I think I took one on Thursday and I took one on Friday. And so far, they look good. They both look good. I didn't share it in the Discord though because it's the kind of trade that it's a counter trend trade. I want to reduce my exposure of all these kind of trades to myself alone. So when the time is right, we're gonna be sharing all of that. But for now, I took a short buy on Bitcoin. Right now, it looks like this. Okay, Bitcoin still looks very decent. Break, pullback, and then I took a buy here. And when the market did make this dip on, I think on Friday, on the 20th on Friday, I took another buy from the bottom here. And so far, it looks like we might get 72K and maybe 75K, and extreme high would be 79K, okay, on Bitcoin. All right, so potentially we can start looking for short here and short right at the top here. So these two regions will be where I'll be looking for short on what? On Bitcoin. So watch out very closely on that. Okay. I told you at the beginning of this year, we're going to be trading almost everything. Okay. We're going to be trading almost everything. So we started already. I hope you are ready for the show because it is going to be very, very interesting moving forward. So right there we have 75K, something like that. And right here, we're going to have what we have. We have 79,544. Let's remove all the story. And we're going to put it at the top and add it at the right hand side. Okay. Right? Right hand side. I'm going to keep it. So again, those are the, if you're taking a swing buy, okay, those are the targets. I mean, a short buy, excuse me, on Bitcoin. If you're taking a short buy on Bitcoin, those are the targets, okay, that you can actually look into. All right, you can look into. We are talking about 72K, 75K, and 79K. Those regions look super exciting in my opinion, and those regions might be regions where shorts and sellers might start coming in. But if you want to ask me, where do I draw the line on this one? This is where I draw the line. This is where truncation stands. Okay, run. Let's make it end of the rope, right? Or you can call it truncation. Okay, but that is where, and that's where it sits, end of the rope, right? The moment this region is broken to the downside or to the upside, excuse me, I will be getting out of my bearish outlook on gold, on Bitcoin, excuse me. And it's gonna be a full blown rally from there potentially. So, but anything in this region right here is still pretty much short, sellable. I mean, or maybe you can day trade it. Okay, you can day trade it. All right, I won't suggest any swing trade. You can buy, you can sell right inside there. But anything above here, all right, it's a buy for me. Anything below here, it's a sell for me. Right. So let's pay close attention to it. But right now, if we're gonna keep it hush, keep it clean, I would say 79K is fair, 75K is fair, and 72K are good regions to buy towards and sell from. Okay, you can buy towards them. As the market is riding to the upside right now, you can buy towards them, and when they get there, you can take a short sell, you can take a swing sell, and pay close attention to that. Full details will be shared in our Discord server for sure. So that is that on the cryptocurrency asset. On Brent, I shared this on the server again in our community, and I said Brent. I took a buy on Brent right here. All right, with the hope that Trump will finally do some stuff in the Middle East. All right, like it's gonna throw some bombs, and let me listen to my audio. All right, it's gonna throw some bombs. The fight will kick off fully. Right, that was like the anticipation. Okay, but unfortunately for humanity, all right, fortunately for humanity has not started yet. Right, but unfortunately for this trade, okay, also it hasn't started yet. Now I mean, as a trader, it's more like a fight between humanity and you making profit, right? Because we know that the moment the fight in Middle East starts, okay, the moment it kick off, there will be a shortage in oil price, and when there's a shortage in oil production, excuse me, there will be a hike in the price, right? And it's a very basic strategy when it comes to trading commodities like oil and gold. Okay, when there is anything like inconsistency, like a war or something like that, you see them increasing rapidly. And that's what we've seen from this particular region at around $60 per barrel. Went up, came down, up, down, up, down. Now we're getting a break of this particular structure right here, break of structure. All right. And now we're waiting for maybe a further rally to the upside. I want a very decent upward movement, then get a pullback back to retesting this particular key zone. All right, probably fall to like 50 to 61.8 Fibonacci as well, and I'll be taking a buy all the way from there. Right, that's gonna be my game plan on Brent. I share the same thing on WTI as well. So if you're interested, pay close attention to it. You can join if you really want to. So that said, we have dollar card. I'm gonna like rush through now. Okay, dollar card is good for short opportunity. All right, but you might really want to wait for the full retest of this particular region at the top here. Okay, you might want to wait for this region right there. Let me give you the number. Let's put in the coordinates there so it can make more sense. Control C. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Text. Control V. Right. We have to make it white, and let's make it at the top, right? And at the right hand side or left. Yeah, right is good. So this is the coordinates, Control C and Control V right there. So we're looking at 1.3740, right? This particular region right here. The market fortunately retested it. Okay, right at the top here would be where I'll be looking for short opportunity on what? On dollar card. Okay, 1.3740. Anything above it, massively above it, all right, I would be very, very skeptical on how I approach this. But with the right state of mind, with the right entry plan, I bet we can get a very good return out of this particular trade. Although it's already going down, right? It's already, you can see a bunch of price action right here. Now, when you take a look at it on the 15-minute time frame, it looks like a range, right? It looks like a range. That is also retesting this particular key zone. I don't know what's going on today, right? My mouse is acting super fast. Everybody is excited. I don't know why. Even my mouse is excited. My mouse is excited. So, anyways, moving on. So you can see it's ranging at the top here. So I don't want to really meddle into that. But if we get a full retest of this particular region right there, then we can look for price action there, right? Then we can look for short opportunity moving forward. Okay, on dollar card. So that's what I'm gonna say on dollar card for now. All right, and okay, just wait for better market structure at the top there, and we see how we can approach this in this coming week. Aussie card, on the other hand, don't forget that I'm still of the personal opinion to short this guy. All right, it's a counter trend trade, I must say that. And right now, it doesn't look like it's the best way to go about it because of the intense rally. But if you look at it on the technical perspective, it's approaching multi-year high. Okay, this is 2021. Okay, 2021 high. Let's say January 2021, and this is May 2021, right? And it's already at May 2021. That doesn't mean it's going to fall immediately, right? But you can get a very good scoop, 500, 450 pips from it, right, before it continues to the upside, because something tells me that once it drops back to probably this particular demand zone here, it's gonna lean towards January 2021 high before it now drops further to the downside. Okay, that's my take on that one. Because on the weekly band, all right, on the weekly band, this guy is bearish. All right, Aussie card is bearish, plain and simple. So no matter how high it goes, it's still gonna drop, right? I just do not like, I've said this a couple of times, right? I just don't like buying them. I think no, this is not one of them that I don't like buying. But if I wanted to buy, this is where I would have loved to buy. Okay, and don't forget, this is the testament to the range breakout strategy that I think I shared it with you a couple of times in this channel, that when the market is ranging for over 3 months, all right, you don't want to play with the breakout, because when the breakout happen across any asset, gold, silver, WTI, whatever, when they break out, at least they will give you nothing less than 350 pips kind of run. All right, even on their worst day, they're still gonna give you close to 350 to 500 pips. All right, on their worst day, especially for a range that lasted for what, at least 3 months. Okay, at least 3 months, you're gonna get 350 to 500 breakout or rally. So you might really want to pay close attention to that as you move forward in this year, because it doesn't happen all, they don't happen all the time, right? So that's that. Aussie card, I'm done with it. Right, let's just wait for a full retest of this May high, right? May 2021 high, and we see if we can get a scoop shot from there. But right now, it's not clear yet. If you want to buy, I've been sharing the idea that you can look for buy, you can look for buy, you can still buy Aussie card. Okay, just wait for a decent pullback on maybe 1 hour time frame. Okay, a pullback on 1 hour time frame like this, maybe something like this. And again, something else, it's ranging again, right? Since the 12th of February, it's been ranging. So that means the moment you get a breakout, a pullback, you're gonna get close to 150 pips rally, because this is 1 hour time frame, don't forget. So you're gonna get a very good one. If it breaks to the downside as well, it's going to be mind blowing. All right. So you want to watch out. You want to watch out. If you want to buy this, pull back to this particular pocket. You can see we have inverted head and shoulder pattern also. Break, return of the neckline, and then you buy to the upside. All right. Simple arithmetic on Aussie card. So watch out for that. Pound dollar. We're looking for buy opportunity on pound dollar, but dollar index again, inconsistency, instability, it's not giving that strong vibe for me. Okay, it's not giving that confident vibe. Okay, it's giving me anything can happen kind of vibe, and I don't like anything can happen kind of vibe in the market, especially when I'm trading the dollar pair. All right, I like a precise, simple rally, dump, or higher high than higher low, structural kind of move that I can follow systematically. When it's giving me anything can happen kind of vibe, I tend to just verge or just do something else. And you can see this is also one of the complex pullbacks we're talking about. We have what we have A, B, C right here, and then we have X. Okay, we have A, B, C, right? We have X, and we have another what's it called? A, B, C, right? So we have what we can. So we have X. We have excuse me. We have W, X, and what and Y right here. Okay, we have WXY. So it might be the end of the corrective wave. Which corrective wave am I talking about? I'm talking about this particular corrective, this particular motive wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I also did like 1, 2, 3, something like this, 1, 2, 3 kind of correction here before this. I think we can call this wave 5 now. We can call this 03. All right, we can call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think that's quite better. All right, but we are actually focusing more on this particular corrective wave. All right, is it over? Is it the end? Before we buy again. But the moment, where do I draw the line? Maybe you're asking yourself, where do I draw the line? Right at the bottom here. You might break to this particular downside. I'm done. I'm done. All right. I'm done. Start looking for something else. Start looking for short potentially. So that's what we call reversal, right? Reversal happen every now and then. Okay. So we have to watch out. But I'm still very much bullish. Okay. I'm still pretty much bullish on it. So let's just watch out. I think I should delete this. It's too much levels. Okay, too much levels. I should drop this one to the bottom here. Okay, to the bottom, then maybe drop to the downside, and then we get the continuation of this particular bullish momentum. So that's that on pound dollar, right? It's tricky. Everything is not stable yet, considering what we've seen on the dollar index, but I think we can approach it cautiously and carefully, right? Lastly, let's talk about NZD dollar. Because of my time, I don't really have that much time anymore. I would say NZD dollar is also looking very good for a long opportunity. And also on Edge Finder top setup, we have Aussie dollar bullish. I mean, Aussie bullish, literally Aussie dollar, Aussie yen, and Aussie Kiwi pre bullish, right? But we have pound and euro dollar bearish. It's very tricky there. So let's scrape that. Let's forget I said anything about Edge Finder top setup as regards NZD dollar. Right. Or actually, no. Let's take a look at something else. All right. On Edge Finder, let's come to this particular one. Let's go to NZD dollar. Right. Yes, NZD dollar is reading -2. That's very tricky, right? Reading -2. The growth, the economic growth comparison is fine, is bullish. Inflationary data comparison is also bullish, but technical strength, I won't call it bearish. Okay. I won't call it technical strength bearish. It's bullish when you take it. Oh, yeah, yeah, bearish. On the daily, it's bearish. On the 4 hour, when you squeeze it together, it's like a range. But weekly, monthly, daily, bearish. So I will give it that. I will give it bearish for sure. Institutional activities, the COT data, also pretty bearish. Job market comparison, bearish. Guys, it's tricky, right? It's tricky. But focusing on technicals again, I think we can take a look at this last rally. All right, we just want to buy this last rally to this particular region right here at 0.6120. All right, before the market dropped to the downside, right? Before it drops to the downside. And the reason why I had a little bit of a brain fart the other time is because I wanted to call this bullish, but when you take a look at it very, very well, it's a bearish asset. Okay, it's a very bearish asset. So we have to put things in perspective so we don't say things that we don't really mean or that we don't really have full data behind it. But overall, on the 4 hour band, we have NZD at this particular demand zone. I don't think it's gonna hold the price for a long period of time. But in the past, I've seen it happen. So we can get the rally from there all the way to the upside, and possibly we can get it come back to retesting the Fibonacci checkpoints right there, and the market will rally from there. Okay, don't forget this Fibonacci. We have 0.5% here, and we have 0.618 right here as well. So those are the regions that I'm looking into for a buy opportunity on NZD. Right here is questionable. I wouldn't mind missing out. Okay, I wouldn't mind missing out. I'd rather take the buy right there. All right, but if anything change, I will let you know in the community. So I was gonna talk about gold and silver, but I will leave that video for the next one I'm gonna record for the Discord community. So I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a good day. Bye for now.